and you ask them what differentiates your company from others, 89% answers customer experience. Funny thing is, if you check that with their customers, it's about 8% that agrees with that. So there is a gap between what people in boardrooms seem to think and what people in the street seem to think. Now, I want to talk about this. To what extent can you make a difference with customer experience, and how well can we follow this increasing line of expectations? I mean, you guys got invited here by Nextworks and EMEC. That means that you are doing a good job in your company, and you're probably delivering value above customer expectation today, which is great. But if you look at all the stuff that Peter just talked about, if you translate all those technologies into needs for customers, what you see is that expectation levels will rise like crazy. And I think the difference between phase 1 and phase 2 from the digitalization is that this time it will hit the core of the business. I mean, if you look at the first phase of digital, the question that people had was, do we need a website to communicate with our customers? Some people needed 5 years for that. Some people needed 10 years to think about that. The truth is, if today you still don't have a website, it's kind of stupid, but it's not killing your business. Then you had that second phase of digitalization, which was about mobile and social media. I mean, if you don't have a Facebook page today and you're not using mobile, it's extremely stupid. You fell asleep 10 years ago, but it's not killing your business. If you look to those evolutions and technologies that Peter just talked about, and you see the impact this will have on the market, it's not just stupid to not take part of it, it's actually going to kill your business. And that's what I want to talk about. How do customers, their evolution or their expectations evolve, and how can you avoid doing this in this market, and how can you go upwards along with those expectations of customers? Now, if you live in this world as a consumer, I think it's the best time in the history of mankind to be alive. Because if you look at, for instance, what AI can do in field of customer service, I think these are 3 benefits that are going to be really clear for all of us real soon. It's about faster than real-time customer services. Pretty soon, if we're going to move into the airport, or if we're going to drive into the airport, and you have bad traffic like today or yesterday, and you will miss your flight, you will get a message by a bot from Brussels Airlines that will say, hey, Steven, you left too late. You will miss the flight. That's no problem. We already rebooked your flight. That's faster than real-time customer service. It's going to be hyper-personalized more than ever, and the convenience level is just going to be amazing. Now, if you look at the rise of expectations, and you look at some of the new examples of those digital superhero companies, this is probably one of my favorite examples. Maybe you've seen this. This was released, I think, last month. This is an example from Amazon. It's Amazon Go. So Amazon's going to open up stores as from this year. This is the first store that they're going to open up in Seattle. And it's brilliant. So the only thing you need to do is you grab your phone, you scan the little gate at the entrance, then you walk into that store, and the only thing you need to do is just grab whatever you need from the shelves. You don't need to scan it, you don't need to pay it, you just put it in your bag and you walk out. I think this is the most amazing thing ever. They actually killed all the things that we don't like about shopping, like being in an aisle, waiting, the hustling at the cash register. Those are things that we do not like. They took it out. You know, the funny thing was, I had someone from Carrefour on the phone the day that this video came out, and I told them, did you see the Amazon video? And they said, yes, we saw the Amazon video. And I said, I'm completely thrilled. I love it. And they said, yeah, we like it as well. And I said, I couldn't resist. I said, the only sad thing is that these guys invented that, and not like you. And I didn't dare to say it, but basically I meant in the last 21 years, those guys didn't have a single store. You guys had stores. That was the only thing you had. And somewhere you seem to have forgotten to innovate in those stores in the last 21 years. And the guy from Carrefour, he said, yeah, you're absolutely right, but it's even worse than that. He said, we had the same idea on PowerPoint slides. And then we presented that, and there were so many people in the room that saw all the disadvantages of it, so we decided that the safe thing was not to innovate in those stores in such a way. That's how the market is evolving. And some people say, hey, but we're not Amazon, you know, we're Belgian companies, we're Flemish companies, we're smaller companies. Those kind of innovations, they're just impossible for us. I think the advantage today is that you have a lot of off-the-shelf stuff that you can use to create that seamless experience. I don't know if you're familiar with this company called Vive la Tarte. It's probably the nicest bakery in San Francisco. It's run by a Belgian guy, obviously. It's really beautiful. They have good stuff, really good stuff. And the really cool thing is that they copied the Amazon Go philosophy in their bakery by using off-the-shelf technology from Square. And Square is like an automated paying system. that you can put as an app on your phone. So people that walk into his store and are repeating clients, they just grab the coffee they need, they grab the cake they need, and they walk out and they've paid automatically. This is a very small one-person store, basically. They use the same philosophy as Amazon, but it's about seeing those opportunities and really seeing how this market is evolving. And it's really exciting. Because if you're here today, it looks okay, but if you look at the speed of evolution, there's a big chance that things will move very fast. People that know me know that I'm a big fan of Disney World. I love the magic bands. So if you go to Disney World, you get these magic bands that basically do everything for you. They allow you to get into your hotel room. In the park, you pay with them. It's brilliant. I was there at New Year's Eve in Disney World, and for safety, for instance, they know exactly who can enter certain zones. It's fantastic. I still miss my magic band every single day here in Belgium. If I look at my wallet, I've got an ID card, I've got a driver's license, I've got a bankcontact card, I've got a credit card. It's like, we're like idiots running around. Give us that bracelet, it would be fantastic. Now, I love this system. Above expectations, profit of Disney World up with 20% because of the convenience level. So they're happy, and then this happens. The neighbors across the street, Universal Studios, their biggest competitor in Orlando, they start a new theme park called Volcano Bay, and this is their message to Disney. We're going to kill the waiting lines. The one thing that we all hate when you go with your children to a theme park, standing in line and waiting, they're going to kill that thanks to a new digital interface. This is bad for Disney because suddenly, the thing that we all hate is being removed. At Disney, you still have to wait in line. Then you have the inventors of the Magic Band that moved to a cruise company. They're baking a bigger and a better system of the Magic Band into a cruise company. But Disney also has cruise lines, but they don't have the Magic Band system on their cruise ships. So people are now disappointed that a competitor of Disney has a system that is better than the Magic Band, and you don't have the Magic Band on the cruise ships of Disney. Before you know it, this is happening, even if you have the best system in the world today. So the challenge is, how can you keep up with that? And I'd like to talk you through a few ideas that can help you to get there. I think this is basically the philosophy that you need as a business company today. We're moving from digital first to mobile first to AI first. The big technology companies have made that switch probably 2 years ago. The truth is, in Belgium and in Europe, some companies are still getting used to the fact that we're moving towards this second phase. And today, we're already moving into this third phase. I'm convinced that if all the stuff that Peter talks about really works, a few years from now, we're going to trust AI more than we trust humans. We will have more belief in technology than in the advice of other humans. Just if you don't believe that, think about your GPS system in your car. I don't know what you do. If your partner is sitting next to you and you're driving somewhere, and the GPS says it's straight ahead, and your partner says, take a right here, which advice do you follow? We all know what we do. We think the machine will know better than that stupid human. And that's really funny to see how fast this will go. If you're in the financial industry, I'm pretty convinced that pretty soon we will have more faith in financial robotic advisors than in human advisors. I think if you look at healthcare, we'll probably have more faith in a doctor that has support of a computer than a doctor without support of a computer. And in the next phase, we'll probably have more faith in a robot than in a human. This will go really, really fast. So I think if you look at what's going on in this customer in the day after tomorrow, this is basically the challenge of companies today. There's so many needs popping up. You have these big advantages as a consumer, faster than real time, hyper-personalization, convenience. The moment that that works, we trust it, and that's the opportunity to win market share. Now, if you ask me, where do you need to invest in? As a company, I think there are 3 investment axes to look at for this customer in the day after tomorrow. It's about consumer science, it's about new interfaces, and it's about intelligence augmented. And I'm going to walk you through each 3 of those. Consumer science. If you look at the evolution of customer experience, I truly believe that probably this is the biggest challenge for marketeers today. Figure out a way to better understand the context of your customer. Last year in June, Peter and me took a group to New York and San Francisco to look about the future of retail. And we talked about this. These are the driverless cars of Google. I don't want to talk about the car. I want to talk about the radar on top of the car, which is probably the most important piece of technology of that vehicle. This is what it delivers. It gives you that 360 view of the road, right? Now imagine that Google would use that same technology in a store. And that's exactly what they do. They use the radar of that car and put it in stores. So that means that you can get this kind of information, not from the streets, but from the stores. For Carrefour, this is fantastic because for the first time, they have the same information as Amazon has about its visitors. We saw a demo of that, which was really mind-blowing. It even has like little laser beams that are coming from the consumer's eyes, so you can see exactly to which part of a packaging or an advertisement in a store they're looking. But this is giving you the information you need to understand the context, and if you have that context, you can start to play with customers. This is what you see in companies like Netflix. In God we trust, all others bring data. I think this is the mindset of customer experience today, where it's no longer some sort of a gut feeling thing, but where it's based on science. Peter just talked about this, Planet Labs. Remember the guys that make shoebox satellites and put them in an orbit around the world, and they make the scan of the planet every single day? This is basically creating a consumer science for the insurance industry. If you look to the biggest market for these guys, it is the agricultural market. And for the first time, they can actually make a neutral, objective analysis to understand what caused the damage of a storm. In the old world, if there was a storm in a big crops field, you had the insurance expert, the human, coming by to make an analysis. And when it's really an innovative human, they brought a drone and they looked at the damage from an upper view. But still, that's only post-storm, right? Thanks to Planet Labs, they can compare pre- and post-storm for the very first time. It is changing into a science. Second thing I want to talk about is this. Conversational interfaces. I think this is the evolution that we're seeing in customer service, from being reactive to real-time to faster than real-time. And you see the first movements of that today. I think in my field of expertise, the buzzword of 2016 was a bot, small artificial intelligence engines that create customer service at a higher level and 24/7. I don't know if you've seen this. This is an example from Starbucks that has created a bot that you talk to order everything that you need, your coffee, the food that you want. And if you go to the Starbucks, you don't have to stand in line. You can actually skip the barista, and then you can get your coffee and the food that you ordered. You don't have to touch a button. You don't have to do anything. You just talk to the device, and it's talking back to you. Now, if you look at the evolution of bots, things are going really, really fast. And this is something to worry about in Flanders, if you ask me. We don't have this device yet. Amazon Echo. They had it for, I think, 3 years in the US. It is an extremely fast-selling product. It is now, I think, in about 1 out of 4 households in the US. For people that don't know it, it's like a speaker system that you put in your living room, and you actually talk to the device. It's called Alexa, and people do crazy stuff with it, and you see it more and more as a standard of a new user interface in the US. If you would go to Las Vegas, I would recommend you to stay in the Wynn so you can see what it does. In every hotel room in the Wynn, they have now this Alexa device, and if you come back to your room, you don't have switches anymore. You just talk to the robot, basically, and you're saying, "Hey, Alexa, I'm back in the room. Can you close the curtains? Can you turn on the light? Can you soften the light a little bit? Can you order me a pizza? Or I need to go to the show. Can you book me an Uber in 10 minutes? That would be really great." And this is what Alexa does. They have this now as a standard interface. If you look at what people are doing with it, it's quite interesting. Some of this stuff is basic stuff, like set a timer, play a song, read the news. That's basic stuff, right? This is what really intrigues me. Buy something on Amazon Prime. 1 out of 3 people that has a device that you talk with, a bot, is using it to order stuff from Amazon. Imagine what that does with the process of search. Imagine what that does with the customer journey if people want to buy a product. If you look at this product, the company that is pretty worried about the success of this product is called Google. Because if people start to buy stuff through a voice-controlled command to a device that's on your living room table, that means that the way that we search today is totally shifting. This could alter the way that people find your product and buy your product completely. Now, this is what Google thinks what will happen. They all believe that we will have some sort of a virtual assistant somewhere, maybe in a device like this one, in our phones, obviously, and we will imagine that you need to go to Barcelona, and then you will say, "Hey, Google, I need to go to Barcelona. Can you book me a flight?" And then the Google bot starts to talk with the bots of the airlines, and the bot of the airlines starts to talk with the bots of the hotels. Imagine being Booking.com. That is a threat to their organization because you don't need Booking.com anymore. This is an opportunity for hotels to strike back because you just have to make sure that your bot from the Sheraton talks to the bot from Google. Think about everyone in this room that is selling products that have a low emotional value, like insurance products, for instance. If you need a micro insurance, you will say, hey, Google, next week I'm going on a holiday. I need a health insurance for next week. Can you help me with that? And Google talks with the bots of the insurance agencies. I don't talk to them anymore. And Google makes me a suggestion. In the beginning, they look for 3 suggestions, and I pick the one that I like best. After a while, they will probably get my blessing to buy that instantly on their own best advice. This is a total shift in search. I mean, if you look at the model from today, day after tomorrow, and today, tomorrow, day after tomorrow, this is Google's day after tomorrow. Because they believe that their current search engine won't last another decade anymore. The only problem is they're making 100 billion with it today, so they cannot stop with it instantly. But they're investing in this. This is their day after tomorrow stuff. Even if they don't know how this will bring value, they're convinced if they don't have this, they will be dead in 10 years from now. But as a consumer, as marketing people, as business leaders, this is crucial to understand how this will flip the customer service cycle and the customer journey of customers. You can also imagine the big ethical debates we will have with this. Because, imagine that you have a speaker like that from Google or from Amazon in your house, and you talk with it for like 30 minutes a day. Guess what that device does the other 23 hours and 30 minutes? It's listening to everything that you're saying. You can imagine the privacy discussions. We're worried about the cookie of Facebook today. That is really a big concern in this world, apparently. But this is something else. This is a device that's listening. If you don't believe me, check this out. Alexa got subpoenaed by the FBI as a witness in a murder in a murder trial. A guy got killed in a house, and Alexa knows who did it. Imagine the ethical debates. Imagine the ethical questions. Will Amazon give that data? No, they're not giving that data. But imagine that your son is killed and that this machine knows who did it and the fuckers from Amazon don't want to give you that information. How will you react to that? I mean, that's a totally different discussion than the stupid cookies of Facebook that we're spending our time on. This is really crazy. Some people freak out by the idea that you will have something in your house that is listening. I personally think we're going to get used to that. I think 10 years from now, we're going to open up our fridge and we're going to say, oh, I want to make a cake today. And you will open your fridge and you will say, oh, I don't have enough eggs to make the cake. And that Alexa or something will tell you, hey, Steven, I couldn't help overhearing that. If you want eggs, I can get them here in 15 minutes. What do you think? That it's like part of the household, like our phone has become part of the household. If this thing really works, it can become part of the household. Some people freak out and say, I'm never, ever going to put something in my house that is listening to what I'm saying. So I just want to do a small test. Is there anyone in this room who has a Samsung TV at home? Please raise your hands. Okay, have you read the privacy statement? I did, and it's worrying. It's worrying because you actually already have a device that's listening to you in your living room if you have a Samsung TV. This is what is written in the privacy statement. Please be aware that if your spoken words include personal or other sensitive information. Now, I don't know where your TV is placed in your house. Mine is placed in my living room, and from time to time, we have personal conversations in our living room that contain sensitive information. So they're warning us for that. That information will be among the data captured and transmitted to third parties. So we already have it in our house. Samsung isn't doing this yet, but the moment that personalized advertisement can happen, they know exactly what you want to buy. Think about which advertisement you will get. This is like Facebook, but then in the offline world and in the environment of your own house. We placed the best listening sensors in our own houses, and we're not even aware of it. So we're getting used to this new world, but this is going to create the biggest ethical debates that we had in the history of mankind. Last thing I want to talk about is intelligence augmented. Many people believe that computers and AI will replace humans, and that is probably the end game. I think in the short run, in the next decade, AI will mainly strengthen humans and will make sure that we can deliver a higher level of customer service. And I want to show you an example of what I think we will see more and more in the next 2 years. This is a company that I really like. It's a company called Digital Genius. They're based in San Francisco. It's a young company, but they're seen as one of the new upcoming stars in this playing field. So what they do is they take the data, customer service data of the last 2 years, they feed that into a model, and it's being translated in mathematics. Because of that, it's language independent. Then a customer asks a question, can you rebook my flight? That is being changed in a mathematical model. They match the two. Based on that information, the computer makes an assumption of what the good answer for that client could be. In the back office systems of a customer service agent, they make a suggestion. They give you a probability of what the likelihood is that that answer is a correct one. If it's like 95%, they ship automatically. If it's 90%, the agent can adjust the answer. Even if the agent doesn't change anything, he has the time to personalize it. So what happens here is, this is intelligence augmented. As a customer service agent, you get the right answer, you can speed up your service, and you have more time to personalize than ever before. I think these systems is going to be the first applications of what we're going to see in AI in the world of customer service. Behind the scenes stuff, invisible technologies that actually allow the humans to deliver a above human service. And this is what I said in the beginning. If you don't participate in this as a company, this is affecting the core of your service. This is an example from KLM. If KLM does this and Brussels Airlines doesn't, that's a problem for Brussels Airlines, because we as consumers, we will say, hey, KLM is so fast, it's so personalized. Why can't Brussels Airlines do that? We won't understand it, but it will be the systems behind the scenes that will boost the performance of humans. And if you don't have those tools to boost the performance of humans, you will fail really fast. We will see that difference in service happening everywhere in every sector in the next 2 to 3 years. Intelligence augmented as a last step. I truly believe that these are the investment axes that you need to go for. If you want to create those benefits for consumers, and I truly believe that this is also the biggest danger. Technology is so excited that we sometimes look at technology for the sake of technology. I think the real challenge is to think about technology to create value for the customer. This is value on the right-hand side for the customer. How we can create it as companies by investing in these 3 elements. Consumer science, using data to make experience into a science game, those new automated interfaces, and creating or using technologies that boost the power of humans, intelligence augmented. Living in the world of the customer in the day after tomorrow, I think it's going to be the most fascinating time for us as customers, because it's going to be fantastic to see how services are boosting. I would like to end with this. If you have brainstorms about this, I think that the changes are so big that the danger is to start with your current situation and think about how can you improve your current situation. I don't think that's good enough. I think you need to think about this. Think about the dream situation. Think about Amazon Go. Take out those annoying parts. Think about Universal. Take out the waiting lines in theme parks. How can you be extreme in boosting the customer service, and then you work backwards? Then you think about which technologies you need, and you start believing in what you can do. This morning I had a brainstorm in a company, and before you know it, if you start with the existing situation, you don't move far enough. You just bump into all the operational shit and the shit of yesterday. Whereas if you start from the dream and work backwards, it's a totally different perspective. But your customers need this. Your customers in the day after tomorrow need to start with the dream to create those benefits for them, and then you have to work backwards. I hope that was a good second presentation for you guys this afternoon. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you're going to enjoy the third talk. Thank you very much.